Welcome to our tutorial on utilizing the odds of sale and absorption rate Excel spreadsheet and the accompanying charts with them. Today we'll be utilizing the spreadsheet that you've downloaded from our Facebook page. And once you've downloaded, please save it to your hard drive so you can work with it. We'll also be working with information from Matrix. So in this scenario, we're working with a client who wishes to sell their home in Silver Springs. So starting on our odds of sale chart, we select the fourth position here and type in the community Silver Springs. Select the cell above it, and when we're talking to our clients, we want to compare what's happening in Silver Springs with the surrounding communities. So in this case, we're going to pick Varsity Estates, Ranchlands, and Scenic Acres. Once we have everything typed in under our criteria, you'll notice when we go to our absorption rate sheet, the communities are already put in there for you to save a little bit of time. So we'll go back to our odds of sale data sheet. Now I've already put in the information for the City of Calgary. So we're looking at detached homes within the City of Calgary. To get this information, we need to move back to our matrix that we have open. So in Matrix, once you've logged in, you want to go to your search screen and choose Detached Homes. Make sure that we are dealing with not a condo and the City of Calgary. Under the status, we're going to select all of the statuses except for rented. So pending, under contract, sold, expired, withdrawn, conditionally terminated, and terminated. We want to take a look back 180 days, 6 months. We take a look at the bottom and it tells us how many matches we have. And in this case, within the City of Calgary, we've had more than 5,000 listings in the last 6 months. So we need to narrow this down to get numbers we can work with. I'm going to clear off my solds. I'm still above 5,000. I'm going to remove the terminated and the conditionally terminated. And now I have 4,675 matches. So I write this down or put it into my calculator, and now I have to deal with the rest of the statuses. I'm going to select terminated, conditionally terminated, and clear off the rest of them. So terminated listings in the last 6 months equal 1,822. I put that into my calculator, and now I need to start to look at my solds. So I select sold, clear off, conditionally terminated, and terminated. I'm looking back 6 months, and again, I have more than 5,000 matches. So I need to change my search parameters for my solds. So I'm going to start off by looking at the first 90 days. So 0 to 90 days back. So in the past 90 days, we've had 3,503 matches. I add this into the other two figures that I have, and then I need to change my days back, and I want to go 91-180. And in this time period, I have 3,541 matches, which I add to the other three numbers, which gives me a grand total of 13,541 listings within the city of Calgary for detached homes which are not a condo in the last 6 months. My next step is I want to take a look at how many have actually sold in the last 6 months within the city of Calgary. I need to go back into Matrix. I know that in the last 91 to 180 days, I've got 5,341. And I add that to what has happened in the last 90 days. So I change this to 0-90. And I have 3,503, which I add to the previous figure, which gives me a total of 7,044. I can now start working with the different communities. I go back into Matrix. I select all of the statuses except for rented. And I make sure that my days back for my solds is 0 to 180. And I choose my community, which in this case is Scenic Acres. I don't have to type the whole name in. Once you see Scenic Acres highlighted, we can take a look, and we have 95 matches. I enter that into my spreadsheet under All Statuses, 95. I move down to Ranchlands, and I go into my community, highlight what I had typed in, and start typing in Ranchlands. Once it's highlighted, I can see that I have 41 matches for properties that have been listed in the last 6 months. I go back to my spreadsheet, type in 41, and move down to Varsity Estates. Go to my community, clear Ranchlands, and type in Varsity Estates. And I have 31 listings in Varsity Estates in the last 6 months. I enter that into my spreadsheet and move down to Silver Springs. Back to Matrix. I change my community to Silver Springs. In Silver Springs, in the last 6 months, we've had 82 listings. Now I can move over and start looking at my sales for the past 6 months. So we're in Silver Springs. I head back to Matrix. Silver Springs is selected. And now I clear off everything except sold. So within the community of Silver Springs, in the last 6 months, we've had 48 sales. I go back to my spreadsheet, and under sold in the past 6 months, I type in 48. I now move to Varsity Estates, back to Matrix, and type in Varsity Estates, showing me that we have 13 sales in Varsity Estates in the last 6 months. Back again to my spreadsheet, type in 13. Now we move to Ranchlands. Back to Matrix, change our community to Ranchlands, And we have 28 sales in ranchlands in the last 6 months. Back to my spreadsheet, type in 28 and move up to scenic acres. Back once more into matrix, type in the community scenic acres, and we've had 51 sales in the last 6 months in scenic acres. So now we can take a look at the data in our spreadsheet. So within the city of Calgary, in the last 6 months, we have had 52% of the homes that came to the market actually sold. In scenic acres, it's 53%. Ranchlands, 68%. Varsity Estates, down to 41%. And Silver Springs, 58%. Once we have all our data in here, we can go down and take a look at our odds of sale chart. And here's what it looks like. We have the City of Calgary, Scenic Acres, Ranchlands, Varsity Estates, and Silver Springs. This is the page you'll print off, put into your package, and if you print it off, you can also email it to your clients. It's a graphical representation that 52% of the homes that were listed within the City of Calgary actually sold in the last 6 months. Scenic Acres has done a little bit better than the city average at 53.68. Ranchlands itself is quite a bit better than the City of Calgary at 68.29. Varsity Estates has done not quite as well, 41.94. And in Silver Springs, we're doing a little bit better than the average number of sales within the city. However, not quite as good as Ranchlands, but better than Varsity Estates, and a little bit better than Scenic Acres. So it's quite well in the community. The important thing about this part is you can talk to your client and let them know that, yes, we're at 58% of all listings sold within Silver Springs within the last 6 months. However, just over 40% of the people that wanted to sell weren't able to. So it's important that we get our list price correct in order to make sure that you fall within the 58% that we're able to sell. So that's a quick synopsis of the odds of sale. Again, this demonstrates of the number of listings that have come to market in the last 6 months within the area, how many have actually sold. The next chart we're going to be working on is our absorption rates. And with our absorption rates, what we're trying to describe here is, based on the number of homes that have sold in the last 30 days, how long will it take for us to sell our existing inventory? Again, we have to go back into matrix. And in this case, we want to start with our active properties. Again, we are detached homes, non-condo. I'm going to clear off Scenic Acres there. And so within the City of Calgary, we currently have 2,906 properties listed. We move that number over here, 2,906. And then we can also take a look at what has sold in the last 30 days. So we change the 0 to 180 to 0 to 30. And within the City of Calgary, detached homes, we've sold 1,024. 1,024. Now we can start taking a look at our communities. Back into matrix, so sold in the last 30 days. We go into our community field. Yeah, we start typing in Scenic Acres. And in the last 30 days, we've had 11 sales. We move back to our spreadsheet, type in 11, and move down to Ranchlands. Back into Matrix, we go into our community, type in Ranchlands, and we see that we've had 6 sales in the last 30 days in Ranchlands. We move down to Varsity Estates, back into Matrix, change our community to Varsity Estates, and we've had 1 sale in the last 6 months in Varsity Estates. And our subject community, Silver Springs, back into Matrix, change the community to Silver Springs. And we've had 6 sales in the last 30 days in Silver Springs. Now we need to take a look at how many properties there are that are active. We're staying with Silver Springs, and we remove the sold and select active. So right now we have 13 homes for sale in Silver Springs. Come back into our spreadsheet, 13 homes. In Varsity Estates, we move back into Matrix, change our community to Varsity Estates, and we have 6 homes available in Varsity Estates. Moving up to Ranchlands, back into Matrix, change the community from Varsity Estates to Ranchlands, and we currently have 7 properties listed in Ranchlands. And now for Scenic Acres. Back into Matrix, change our community to Scenic Acres. And currently we have 23 homes currently listed in Scenic Acres. So now we're showing that within the city of Calgary, we have 2.84 months worth of inventory. So almost 3 months. Scenic Acres, just over 2 months. Ranchlands, we have just over a month's worth. Varsity Estates, we have 6 months worth of inventory. And in Silver Springs, we have 2.17, so just over 2 months worth of inventory. To look at it on our chart, we just go down to our chart sheet, select it, and here it is. Now, a nice way to explain the chart is when we have an absorption rate of 3 to 4 months. So if we have 3 to 4 months worth of inventory based on the sales of the last 30 days, we're technically in a balanced market. Below the balanced market, less than 3 months worth of inventory, we are in a seller's market. And if we have more than 4 months, we are in a buyer's market. So when we take a look at the city of Calgary, we are looking at basically getting close to a balanced market. When we look at Scenic Acres, we are in buyer's market territory, and even more so in Ranchlands. When we get into Varsity Estates, with our 6 months worth of inventory, we're definitely looking at a buyer's market in Varsity Estates. And in Silver Springs, we are in a seller's market, but getting close to a balanced market. Now, having said that, when we take a look at our odds of sale, we can see that sales have been a little bit stronger in Silver Springs versus the city of Calgary. However, it's still important that we have our home priced correctly in order to make sure that we don't fall into the 40% that weren't able to sell. So those are two more charts that you can use with statistics to help you get your home sold, get your homes priced correctly, to make sure that it does get sold. Thank you.